Am I recording? Yes, I am. Okay. Hey everyone. So it's time for my second movie review. This is gonna be my another movie review that I'm gonna talk about. This time, I'm gonna be reviewing the new Netflix film Blonde, directed by Andrew Dominic, who directed Killing Them Softly, that features Brad Pitt, and he's also the producer of the film, produced by Plan B. And stars Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe, aka Norma Jeane Richardson. Alright, okay, this is gonna be a 10-minute movie review. You see it? 10 minutes. So, yeah, let's get right into it. And before I review Blonde, I'm gonna talk about Road to Blonde, the 2002 Netflix film. So, Friday, September 16th, I watched the 2001 made-for-TV film called Blonde, which stars Poppy Montgomery as Norma Jeane, aka Marilyn Monroe, and this is almost a 3-hour film, but originally it's going to be a 4-hour film, but they decided to cut down to almost 3 hours. And yes, this is in 2 parts, so they decided to stitch it together. And it's on Amazon if you want to check it out. Go ahead. Yeah. And last week, I just watched My Week with Marilyn. It stars Michelle Williams, remember, who played in Venom 1 and 2, right? Part of the Sony Spider-Man universe. And she also played Marilyn Monroe, and she filmed here in the UK, also known as United Kingdom, whatever you want to call it, because it's not American. It's an American movie, but this is mostly a British film to me. This is a British film, and then yeah, I'm filming about the showgirl and the prince in the showgirl. Yeah, the prince in the showgirl. Right. I had to check on Marilyn Monroe's filmography, but whatever. Okay, so 5 days ago, I watched The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe, the unheard tapes. It's also on Netflix. So you want to check it out? Go on. And this is a documentary, right? This is a documentary about Marilyn Monroe tapes, cassette tapes, audio recording tapes, whatever you prefer. The interviewers just talking about discussions about her life, about whatever the tape recording that was recorded directly from the tape. So yeah. So this is another Netflix film. If you want to go back to these 3 before Blonde, go on, watch the 2001 first, then watch the 2011 one, which is called My Week with Marilyn. Entirely takes place in the United Kingdom, whatever. And of course, another Netflix film, for Blonde, the 2002 film with Ana de Armas, is The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe. So go check these 3 out before you start watching Blonde. Okay? You need to understand what they're doing, what she's doing, what they're doing, whatever the hell you want. Like, seriously, it's just, basically it's kind of a film to film, but it's a film and a documentary film. It's just perfect, but it's not perfect. It's kind of fine films. They're all fine. Like, they're good, but they're not great, actually. They're not great. It's just yeah. For this score for Blonde 2001, I gave this a 6 out of 10. For My Week with Marilyn, I gave a 7 out of 10. And then for The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe, the unheard tapes, I gave it a 6 out of 10. The same rating as 2001's Blonde. For sure. So, yeah, that's all I have to talk about for Road to Blonde, the 3 movies for the Netflix film. So, yeah. Okay, let's get right into it, shall we? Alright. let's get right into it. So, first of all, I think this is genuinely one of the worst movies of 2022. Well, technically it's not one of the worst films of 2022, but one of the most polarizing films of 2022. And I'll explain why. Why? Because they got controversies, like, for example, they miscast Marilyn Monroe, Ana de Armas, the Cuban actress. She played in Blade Runner 2049, The Gray Man, and Knives Out. Speaking of Knives Out, Glass Onion is coming out on Netflix, which I can't wait to watch it. But, yeah, they horribly miscast Ana de Armas as Norma Jeane Richardson, or Marilyn Monroe, whatever you want to call it. And she does not sound like Marilyn Monroe. Why? What? Why doesn't sound like Marilyn Monroe? She sound like in a Cuban accent. Is that Marilyn Monroe in a Cuban accent? Is that they call it Cuban Marilyn Monroe? Is that what are they thinking about? So yeah. And another thing about this, a rare NC-17 rating. Why they got an NC-17 rating? Why? Because the director, Andrew Dominic, was very surprised about why they got an NC-17 rated, right? Because it's not cut at all. But just I can't think about it, but why happened? But it's just why they got an NC-17 rating? So why? So the mainstream theaters banned NC-17 rated films because of Showgirls, which I remember that because that film sucked when I was young, and I only seen bits and pieces of it, thankfully, but that film sucked anyway. But I hated it. Now, the first NC-17 rated film was Henry and June, and now they recently released Blonde, which was, they feature some explicit content to me, but honestly, I just don't believe it. Why they got NC-17 rated instead of an R-rated one? They should cut down to 90 minutes. Oh yes, speaking of 90-minute runtime, why the film is 166 minutes? Why? Why is it too long? It's supposed to have a 90-minute runtime. But why instead got 166-minute runtime? Because, you know, it's 2 hours and 46 minutes, whatever they want. But why is it too long? And why they got NC-17 rated? And why they horribly miscast Marilyn Monroe to play? But, oh my god, what the hell am I thinking? Seriously, what the hell am I thinking? Come on, seriously. What did this happen? But to me, I just can't get good with it. But anyway, let me talk about this. This is the story about Marilyn Monroe, aka Norma Jeane Richardson. Okay, she's a blonde bombshell. She do it as a pinup girl in magazines or calendars or whatever the hell they want. And then she famously becoming as an actress. But man, they got mixed response. Like, everyone hates Marilyn, everyone loves Marilyn, but why not? But to me, I think it wasn't the worst film. Like I said, it was polarizing to me, but oh man, the writing and direction is a mess. Well, I think Marilyn Monroe as a character, well, I think Ana de Armas surprisingly did really a good job. I'm very surprised that Ana de Armas did a fantastic job playing Marilyn Monroe, but man, the writing, the directing, the rating, and runtime is not perfect. It's not picture perfect. Doesn't work for me because it was too long. And why they got the most controversial rating? I mean, this is the most controversial film I've ever seen. the most controversial Netflix film ever. I mean, this is very polarizing. I just can't stand it. I can't stand it. But why? Why they got NC-17 rated instead of R rated? And why should cut down to a 90-minute runtime instead of a 96 and a whopping 166 minutes? But man, this is polarizing. I can't stand it. But anyways, she did a fantastic job. He directed and wrote was not a good part. The writing, directing, and rating and runtime were not doing good, like I said. Honestly, she's a blonde bombshell to me, but I want to check out Marilyn Monroe's stuff, like 7-Year Itch, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, How to Marry a Millionaire, something like it hot. I don't know, but I need to check these out soon. But I think they're really good. But anyways, back to Blonde. Oh man, she did fantastic. Well, they got those shifting aspect ratios, like for example 133:1. You get those black bars on the sides of your TVs depending you're on. There's 178:1 that fills the entire screen. There's 185:1 which is close enough, and there's 239:1 at least. Those horrible black bars is known as the common aspect ratio, but to me, I think it might be unique. But yeah, and the screen pulls up. It reminds me of an IMAX screen, but man, I just can't stand it. But why? And the explicit scenes didn't do well because I can't not believe why they got so many explicit scenes. Why? 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 What the hell happened? Oh my god, this is, wow, nudity is worthless to me. So yeah, this is not worth it. The explicit scenes did not do well. But anyways, cast did a good job, including Ana de Armas, which, yeah. But man, I honestly thinking about this. But to me, I don't know. It just did not work. But why it didn't work? Because they got flaws in it, but why? And of course, the shifting from black and white to color was pretty good actually. They got good moments, like those shifting aspect ratios. Like if you want to watch an IMAX movie, go on, check it out. Or they got black and white and just from black and white to color, which was pretty good. And I love recreations from Marilyn Monroe's films. They're pretty good actually. They're pretty good. I do love Diamonds are best friends actually. They're from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which yeah. But man, I do not know why they include this, but yeah, it's pretty unique. Now let's talk about soundtrack. The soundtrack's pretty good. It was composed by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis, you know that. And yeah, it was so nice. I love this. I love the soundtrack. Soundtrack is fantastic. For me, soundtrack is very fantastic. But man, this is pretty good. I love the soundtrack, most of it. So, anyway, okay. Final thoughts. Okay. And oh, by the way, the scene and the film ends did not include an epilogue. It's just Marilyn Monroe died, death, yeah, and the credits roll, which was, yeah, very sad ending. Yeah, the ending part for me is very sad, but yeah, I'm very tearful. Drop F-bombs or whatnot throughout the whole entire movie, but yeah. Oh man, I can't believe it what they did. Just seriously, not perfect. But yeah. So anyways, for this movie, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10. Now don't get me wrong, this is one of the worst films of 2022, but don't get me wrong. I give this a 4 out of 10 because they stirred controversy going on here. Like they received an NC-17 rating and they miscast Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe. But yeah, oh boy, this is a 4 out of 10. I cannot believe it. What happened? Oh my god, this is the most polarizing film I have ever seen in my entire life. Oh man. And by the way, this is because by the way, this is my first NC-17 film I have watched the entire thing. And this is my first NC-17 film I'm gonna do as a review for it. So, yep, it's a 4 out of 10. I can't believe it. What they did. They got flaws. They got controversies. They got some good moments. They got everything. They got, some scenes do work well, but most scenes, including explicit scenes, like for example, Marilyn Monroe herself is not doing well. Yep, the explicit scenes did not work well. So, yeah, I just can't believe it. This is ridiculous. I can't believe it. What happened? But, yeah. Okay, so the next movie in the future, I'm gonna review Avatar, which I've not seen that film. It came out almost a week ago, but yeah, so that's why I'm gonna review it next. And I'm not sure I'm gonna review it next, but I think I'm gonna review Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which will come out in months, yeah. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's the review for Blonde. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe. And check out my previous review for Moonish Daydream. It's a documentary film that features unreleased footage and everything. And it's all about David Bowie. So click here for my previous link. Just click here for my previous movie review. So, yeah guys, I better hop off now because I have a lot of work to do. So, yeah. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Talk to you then.